Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. And as you might be knowing by now that today's subject is about death. So, what is death? Before we get into it, let me tell you that please do not trust in any of my words. Please do your own research, verify whatever I'm telling you. If required, consult with a neurologist and try to identify that whether there can be any possibility of truth in my words or not, and then make your decisions or come to any conclusion. Why I'm making this video is basically for the spiritual seekers who wants to know that what is beyond death or what is death. Now, these are from my own experiences, from my own understanding and my own logic. So I'm not denying any belief system. I'm not denying any of the scriptures because they may be true, they may be false. I am not aware of them. What I know, that is what I'm going to tell you. So let's start. So what is death? Now before we talk about what is death, who is dying? I am dying. So, who am I? Now, there are many people who makes a great deal out of this thing, which is, who am I? To me, it's very simple. Though it took many years for me to realize this answer. To me, the I is my memory. Whatever I do throughout my life, they are stored in my brain, in the memory center. So if this memory center is deleted or, taken out of this body, then the I is going to be eliminated. There will be no I anymore. If the memory is deleted, if the memory is taken off from my body. So in this entire body, the part which makes me who am I is the accumulation of different memories and experiences. And that is what, in other words, is called karma. So whatever I have done throughout my life, whatever I have seen throughout my life, whatever I have heard throughout my life, whatever I have felt throughout my life, everything is stored in the memory. And this memory is me. So who am I? Is simplest answer is the part of the brain where all my memories are stored. That is me. So who is dying? The brain is dying, and thereby the memory part, the memory center in the brain is getting decayed, and thereby I am dying. Because if the memory is deleted, the I is deleted. To me, this is the answer. I do not know whether there is any soul or Atma or things like that exist or not. I don't know that. But I do know that I live in my memories. This is my name, this is how I look like, this is what I love, this is what I hate. These are the people whom I know, these are the games which I love to play or love to watch. These are the movies I prefer to see. These are the books which I have read. These are the achievements which I have done or achieved in my life. These are the qualifications which I have achieved. This is my height, this is my family, this is my society, this is my religion, this is my country. Everything is in my memory, nothing else apart from it. So if the memory is deleted, I am gone. There is no me. I am no more. So who is dying? I am dying. And who am I? The book inside the brain which contains all my memories is who I am, or who am I. Now, what happens during death? We are going to mainly focus when the heart stops beating in normal situation. So when the heart stops beating, the blood flow stops flowing throughout the body, including the brain. And immediately the respiration also stops. The sensory organs also stops working, which means all my senses cannot send any kind of transmission to my brain. So physically during death, there is no pain, or there should be no pain. To me, physical pain is absent during death. But the catch is, it's a psychological pain we go through, because if I think I'm having pain, that means I'm having pain, whether physically or psychologically. What I mean is, during our dreams, when we are sleeping, we still go through pain. We are still, experiencing something. We are feeling something in our dreams. When we wake up, we realize that, okay, that was actually a dream, because we are more focused on our materialistic world, on this plane which we call reality. And when we compare this plane with the dream plane, then we realize that, okay, that was a dream, that was not true. This is what is true. So, in our dreams, as I was saying, that we feel scared, we feel happy, we feel joyful, we feel peaceful, and many things can happen in our dreams as usual. So, as I was saying, that when the heart stops, all the sensory organs also stop. We cannot speak at that point of time. We cannot see, we cannot feel anything, we cannot speak anything, we cannot do anything basically. So when the heart stops beating, the sensory organs also stops, and thereby all the senses eventually get stopped. Apart from sound, we can still hear sound. The brain, the dying brain, because when the heart has stopped, the brain is dying. But that brain, though it cannot feel anything physically, it cannot see anything, it cannot say anything, but it still can hear sound. I don't know about the exact frequency, that requires research, but I know that sound can penetrate into a dying brain. That I know. So, at this point, when the heart has stopped, if you try to imagine what kind of brain would that be, it is like a brain without a body. If you at all can imagine that. It's a brain without a body. And at this point of time, the brain goes beyond time. Just like when you are sleeping and dreaming, there is no sense of time. When the heart stops beating, the dying brain goes beyond time. And that is why whatever experiences you are going to go through at this point would become eternal, because there is no time. That is why eternal. So it will go on and on and on. So according to the medical science, when the heart stops, the brain continues to function. It does not die immediately. So how long does it survive? According to, the doctors, it can survive from, few seconds to up to 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or maybe more. But at least few minutes it survives, that is for sure. Now, what is the logic behind this? It's very simple. If you consider the people who goes through cardiac arrest, and once they are revived, they are again back to their normal life. So what happened actually to them? Their heart stopped due to cardiac arrest, but doctors were able to resuscitate that person, and under medical care, he was back to normal within few days. So if the heart stopped and the brain also stopped, in that case, this scenario would not have been possible. It is only possible because the brain did not stop functioning. The patient was resuscitated or revived by a medical team within some time, maybe 5 minutes or 6 minutes. And during this time, the brain was not damaged at all. And that is why after resuscitation, this person goes back to his life and behaves like nothing has happened at all. So this proves that the brain does not stop working or functioning when the heart stops. Now, what actually goes on inside the brain when the heart stops beating? For some time, the brain actually becomes very conscious or aware. Why? Because it is not receiving proper oxygen, because the blood circulation is not happening. So the moment there is lack of oxygen in the brain, it becomes conscious or alert because it is at danger. It is facing a risk. So it makes the eye aware that something is wrong. So the dying brain does not go into a dreamlike state. It immediately makes the eye, the person who is dying, realize that I am dying or something is wrong. So he's always aware, whoever is dying, that he is dying under normal situation. Now what? How will I realize that I am dying? The brain made me aware that I am dying. So I will verify, I'll try to speak, I'll try to feel my hands, I'll try to move, but ultimately I see that those are beyond my reach. I can't do anything. Yes, few minutes back I was able to do everything, but right now I can't do anything. So now the I is aware that something is terribly wrong, and most probably this is the moment of death. What happens next? A person who is not prepared will start panicking. The moment you panic, the brain waves starts rising. And it creates stress and anxiety. Now, what is stress and anxiety? Does anyone like it? No. So to me, that is a kind of hell. And as I said, it is beyond time and space. Because for the dying brain, there is nothing called up, down, right, left, front, backward, nothing of that sort. So it is beyond space. So there is no sense of time, there is no sense of space. As if you are drifting. Just like dreaming, you are drifting. But you are aware that yes, I am dying. Now if you panic, in that case, things will go worse. Which I call hell. Otherwise, what can happen? If you are a practitioner, if you are prepared how to die, in that case, immediately you know which path you should follow, what you should do. And that includes multiple things. For people who has practiced samadhi, they'll immediately enter into the delta wave. What is delta wave? Delta wave is one among many brain waves which are found in a human brain, measured by an instrument called EEG. Delta wave is the slowest brain wave noticed till now. Slower than delta wave, the normal regular EEG machine cannot pick them up. But yes, there are slower waves also, but the EEG machine cannot read them. So let us talk based on science only to make some sense. So what happens? For practitioners, they immediately go into delta wave. What is delta wave? Delta wave is when you are in deep sleep. When we sleep, there are two types of brain waves which are noticed, mainly in our brain. So the brain has got many parts, of course, and not necessarily that all the parts of the brain will have the same brain wave. But the dominant one is considered as the main brainwave form. That is something which I have read. So, delta wave, which I can compare through my experience, is something which is called voidness, which is nothingness, where there is no I. People can enter into delta wave consciously either through years and years of practice or by accident. That is why I keep saying that I am not a yogi. I am just an ordinary person. I am not a regular practitioner also. But yes, of course, I kept searching for God for a long time. Since my childhood, basically. And many things automatically happened in my life with me. So if you think that I can get into delta wave proactively, no, I cannot. And I don't want to, because I don't know how to control it. I came out of that particular situation, but honestly, I don't know how I came out of it. Usually, when I think now, there is no possible way how a person can return from a delta wave without the help of another person who is much more experienced in yoga, a practitioner. So anyways, delta wave is the brain wave which occurs during deep sleep. Deep sleep means there is no dreaming. So if there is no dreaming, and if there is no sense of I in delta wave, that means what? There is nothingness. And when you are dreaming, you are in theta wave. Means this theta brain wave is much more dominant in your brain. When you are dreaming, that part of the sleep is called REM, rapid eye movement. Means you are dreaming. And this is the time when the theta wave is dominant. Now in your dreams, what happens? I am there and I am experiencing something in my dream, no matter good or bad or whatever it may be, but I am the person who is experiencing that situation. It is not like I'm visualizing something. No, I'm experiencing something. There is a difference between visualizing and experiencing. So in our dreams, we experience. So at this point of time, I am there. What I'm trying to explain you is, as long as there is I, the memory which I was explaining you, who am I, that is functioning. You understand? So whatever you are dreaming is basically backed up by your memory center. Whether logical, whether illogical, whatever. In dreams, what happens is it starts with something and then it starts to drift. And sometimes it does not make any sense because it keeps drifting based on your nature. But ultimately, it is backed up by your memory center. You will not see an orange elephant in your dreams. If you have never thought about it, if you have never seen it in any of the movies, or if you have never drawn an elephant with orange color, in that case you will never dream an orange elephant in your dreams, because that is not stored in your memory, that is not backed up by your memory. You understand? So whatever you would be dreaming will start with your memory center, and eventually it may get drifted away. Means something which does not make any sense. Later on you may realize, okay, I dreamt like this, but I never thought about these kind of things. It can happen, but you actually do not know that from which page. If I consider the memory center as a book, you do not know that from which page, which line, or which sentence the memory is actually helping to create this dream. So that is why sometimes it might seem confusing that such a peculiar dream does not make any sense, but actually they are formed by multiple statements from that book, from here and there, randomly. That is why it became confusing for you sometimes. Many times you will see something in your dreams which makes sense. That means it is a part from your memory center which you have thought or realized or seen or felt, whatever. It went according to the sequence, and that is why that dream made sense to you. That is how dream happens. The point here is, when you dream, there is an I. And when you do not dream while you are asleep, at that point of time, there is no dream and there is no I also. There is basically voidness. The brain is completely relaxed. Multiple things still happens inside the brain, but it is detached from the memory center of the brain. That is what I think. Or I won't say think, but that is what it seems like. Nothingness, voidness, emptiness. This feeling is neither good nor bad, neither joyful nor with sorrows. It is completely nothingness. Very simple thing. When you go or when you dive into this state of mind where there is no I, according to my experience, there is no bliss, there is no joy, there is no ecstasy. Basically, it is emptiness. When you come out of that state, then you can have joy, tremendous bliss, ecstasy. All these things can happen. But those things happen because of different chemicals which actually gets secreted inside your brain. That bliss is basically due to those chemicals. Like sometimes when you go to sleep and you wake up, you are very happy. You do not know why. It is not because of any dream. But you feel good. You feel satisfied that yes, I slept after a long time. Why this happens? It happens because of various chemicals which are released inside our body. Similarly, once you come out of that delta wave or nothingness or voidness, you feel like too much of joy. You cannot hold yourself. You cannot control yourself. It's such kind of joy. Especially if you have realized something while you were in this stage, because it may take place, like the delta wave, this nothingness may take place for few seconds or few minutes, but the entire episode is not only based on delta wave. While you enter and when you are coming out of this state, if you have any deep queries or questions, they will also be answered. It's not like some external body will come and give you the answer. It happens because, to me, I believe my Guru or God is the super conscience which is there inside me, and I is the conscience which is there inside me. So I'm dividing the I into two parts. One is conscience, The other one is superconscious. The I is the part of the me or myself which is conditioned. Conditioned, what is the meaning of conditioned? Means the part of the I which has accumulated knowledge through years and years and years during this lifetime. It has learned that, okay, this is white, this is black, this is good, this is evil, this is love, this is hate, this is painful, this is joyful. So, a part of me which has learned all these things. A part of me which has realized and understood that what is the meaning of responsibility. What should I do, what I should not do, what is morality, what is honesty. So all these things are my conscience. So these experiences, which is again based on my memory, is my conscience. So what my conscience is? Something which helps me to identify and make a decision, which is based on my accumulated knowledge, which is stored in my memory. That is my conscience. Whether I follow my conscience or I do not follow my conscience, that's a different story altogether. But my conscience knows that what is good for me, what is bad for me. My conscience will always guide me in the right path. But superconscious is not me entirely. Superconscious is the memory in my DNA, which I have inherited through my previous generations. Means my father, my forefather, and hundreds and thousands of my ancestors. Their memory is stored in my DNA. So DNA is a scientific word, and I do not know whether DNA is the right word or not. But for your understanding, I am using the word DNA. But to me, it is superconscious. Superconscious is something which is again a memory center, but it is not developed based on my knowledge and my experiences. It is basically knowledge acquired by my previous generations, combining hundreds and thousands of my ancestors' experience. So superconscious, that is why, cannot be changed, cannot be polluted, cannot be altered, cannot be conditioned. Because it is beyond conditioning. Because who will condition? My own experience, my own thoughts, my own way of looking at things, my own way of interpreting things. So that is my conscience. And I, a single individual, cannot or do not have the capability to change or alter or modify the knowledge which is stored inside me and given by my previous generations. That is what I feel. So I have got two parts in me. One is conscience and the other one is superconscious. What is the need of these two things? Best answer is, if you ask your conscience that who am I? You may not find an answer which actually satisfies you. For a long time, I kept thinking that who am I? At one point of time, I realized that okay, I am just a lump of meat made out of some sort of energy or Energy means electricity, sunlight, anything you talk about. So I am basically a form of an energy which never dies. The soul never dies, it carries on. So energy also never dies. It transforms from one form to another. It keeps transforming, just like a soul. So for many years I kept thinking, and I thought that okay, I am nothing but an energy. But again, I realized that if I combine both the words, I am energy, then there is a contradiction, because I and energy both are not same thing. Who am I? I is basically the accumulated experiences, knowledge, feelings, whatever is there stored in my brain. That is I. Energy is something which is excluded from the I. So I can never experience the energy. See, realizing that I am an energy is through logic, not through experience. So logic can be wrong. Experiences can never be wrong. So if I say that I am an energy, some form of energy, that answer is basically coming out of my logical mind. So it can be wrong. But if I really try to analyze an experience, go deep, then who am I? To me, the correct answer is the memory center inside my brain. So we were discussing about conscience and superconscious. So if you ask your conscience that who am I, you may not get the correct answer, because the conscience is not aware that who I am actually. That is why you will have to take help of your superconscious. That's a totally different subject altogether. I will try and explain you when we discuss about meditation. So in meditation, what happens is, initially you allow the conscience to actually communicate with your superconscious. You dive inside a query, inside a thought, so deep that you start meditating. That is meditation. So you start thinking so deep, and you allow thereby to actually communicate. Means the conscious and superconscious both must have a conversation, and only then you will have these kind of answers. The answers which are truly meaningful, which are never wrong. So that is why two things are necessary. One is I, the conscience, and the other is superconscious, which is the Guru or the God or my super self. Whatever name you give it, the thing does not change. The truth never changes. So we were discussing about what happens when the heart stops. So you do not dream at that point of time. You are aware that I am at risk. And if you are prepared, in that case, immediately you will get into delta wave, which means you do not fall into the trap of reviewing your memories. Because our memories are full of ups and downs, happiness and painful moments. It is applicable for everyone. So if you dive into your memories, then what happens? You start reliving Please listen to it carefully. You start reliving in your memories again and again and again through eternity. And as I said, memories are what? My karma. Whatever I have done, whatever I have thought, whatever my brain has processed throughout this lifetime, that is my karma. And it is stored in my memory center. So if my karma are good, I will have heavenly experience for some time. And if my karmas were bad, in that case, I will face hell or experience hell at this point of time. And trust me, it is not similar to a dreamlike state at all. You would really be experiencing whatever goes on inside your brain at that point of time. When you are looking or when you are in a cinema hall, theater, or a movie hall, you are watching a cinema, a movie, but you are still crying. Why? Because you are getting involved with the characters. So nothing actually is happening to you, but still you are crying, or you are laughing, or you are enjoying. Why? Because you are getting involved with the characters, with the play, with the story. The same thing happens here too when you are dying. If you are reliving your memories, then again the same happiness would be multiplied by any number of times, and you would start feeling it. And if you are experiencing hell, or if you have accumulated too many bad karma which gave you a sense of guilt, in that case, that too will be multiplied into multiple times, and you will have to experience it. These experiences are more real than this reality, this plane. And here I cannot give you any proof. It is something which, if you try, you may experience it. So I'm forced to tell you that trust me, it is more real than this reality. So this is something which you'll have to trust. But again, science is improving, and they can provide you with proofs that why they become more vivid, more real. It is nothing but due to some chemicals which are there inside our brain, which are released inside a dying brain, which makes our experiences more vivid than reality. So only future can give you proof. But for now I can tell you that trust me, these experiences would nothing be similar to just dream. They would be experiences, as if something is happening to you, or as if you are doing something or feeling something. Though none of the organs, sensory organs, would be working at that point of time, but still you would be feeling everything. So to avoid it, practitioners usually dive into delta wave, because in delta wave there is no I. That is the last stage of meditation, and that cannot be achieved by people like us, for ordinary people, because we have family and we are tied up with so many loved ones. around us. We cannot break those bonds that easily. It's not that easy. And even if we succeed in breaking those bonds with others, other individuals, like son, daughter, wife, brother, sister, mother, father, even if you can break those bonds, you cannot break the bond with yourself. So that is why it is not easy at all for, ordinary people like us. To achieve that delta wave, a person has to be completely ready to forget the self. Only then that stage can be achieved. Forget the self in the sense, even without any desire that, okay, I want to achieve moksha. You cannot achieve moksha by trying to achieve moksha. Moksha happens. You cannot enter into delta wave by thinking about, getting into delta wave. You cannot dive into delta wave willingly. It happens. You can meditate. You can reach up to theta wave. But as I said, in theta wave, the I is still there. If you are a religious person, in theta wave, you may see your God. But again, there is duality. I and my God are two separate entities. So duality is there. And as long as there is duality, there is no peace. There would be suffering as long as there is duality. And when there is no duality, when you enter into the delta wave, which is non-dual. Why non-dual? Because there is no I. And since there is no I, there is no you, there is no second party, there is no third party. There is no plural. Because the I is not there. The single, see, as I said in my first episode, that the dharma of this nature is to create opposites. So if there is singular, there has to be plural. The opposite has to be there. So either I am everything in the sense, my memory center. So I am everything, this world, this earth, this universe, I am everything. I'm related to everything. I'm a part of everything, or everything is a part of me. Either everything or nothing. There is no I also. So since there is no I, there is no singularity, there will be no plurals also, no opposite. So that is the difference between delta wave and all the other brain waves. In delta wave, there is no I. And willingly you cannot enter into delta wave. It can only be achieved by true practitioners who practice meditation, the true sense of meditation, for years and years and years. So, if you are not a practitioner, in that case, is there any other alternate way? Yes. The easiest way is to surrender or to accept. When you realize that yes, I have done something wrong, it creates guilt inside you. From where does this guilt come to you? Why this guilt occurs inside you? Because you have something to lose. Something. Anything. It can be like your honor, your dignity, or it can be like you are doing something against your belief, or you are doing something against your God's will, and ultimately you are about to lose something. It can be heaven. Because I am a sinner, I cannot go to heaven. It can be a fruit. That okay, I did so many good things. Today I did this. I've done this wrong thing. So I'll never get the fruits of those good deeds. It can be that also. So there is always something to lose. That is why you feel guilty. Surrendering or accepting makes that thing easy. That yes, I've done this thing wrong and I'm ready to suffer. The moment you are ready to suffer, you are ready to accept the punishment, you are free from your guilt. You are free from your sorrows. This is a trick. Though it may sound very simple, but try and realize it. If you are not desiring to go to heaven, if you are ready to go to hell, in that case, you should not have any kind of guilt. Of course, karma is there. As I said, the memory. Whatever you are writing inside your memory, that is what will reflect when you are dying. For the dying brain I am talking about. So if they are impure, if they are deceitful, if you have deceived yourself, in that case, ultimately you will have to suffer. Because when you will realize that this life which you lived was meaningless, that is a tremendous hopelessness which is worse than hell. So that is why karma is so important in Vedas. So if you are a person who is aware of your karma and yet you have done something which is giving you a sense of guilt, then remember that your desires are still there to achieve something, either heaven or a seat beside your God, or a seat beside your guru, or something good. So the moment you are willing to give up that good thing, that good desire, that good fruit, the good result, the moment you are ready to give it up, there will be no guilt in you. If you are ready to accept punishment for your doings, that is more than repentance. And you are not going to suffer after that. If you are ready to accept the punishment. It is not something I am saying like willingly you have done or unwillingly you have done. It has got nothing to do with what exactly you have done. Because let's talk about a situation. In a boat, you are there, your mother is there, and your daughter is there. You can save only one person. Because there's a hole in the boat. Water is getting filled up. You are the only person who knows how to swim. And you cannot carry both of them together to the shore. So you have got only one choice, either to choose your daughter or your mother. Let's talk about a situation like that. So in that case, what will you do? You will choose one of them. So the result is, no matter whom you save, you will be suffering from guilt. So this is something which you have not done willingly, but you had no other choice. So now you are suffering from guilt. And what I'm trying to tell you is, if you are ready to accept the punishment that yes, if I have done something wrong, I'm ready to accept the punishment. If I have made someone suffer, I'm willing to suffer too. I do not want a shortcut. I do not want a reward. I am ready to give up my, opportunity to go to heaven. I am ready to give it up. I am ready to suffer in hell. So when that attitude comes into you, you will realize that you won't require anyone to forgive you. Okay? But again, there is a catch. It does not mean that, okay, I am ready to accept punishment and thereby I can do any wrongdoing. Because if you follow the wrong path, the path of adharma, then when you would be dying, I'm talking about the dying brain, you would be experiencing the same memories which you have written throughout your life, and they will not be pleasant. You will have to experience them for eternity. And the brain knows how to actually torture you, honestly, if you try to deceive it. Only one question it will ask you: what have you done with your life? Think about it. One question is more than enough to disappoint you right now. What have you done in this lifetime? If you start thinking about it, truly you will realize that you are no different than anybody else who has done nothing in their life, who has just simply earned money or just time pass, who have achieved too many, certificates or a huge amount of bank balance or praises. Now, whatever you have achieved in your life, they would actually be meaningless when you are dying. So try to understand that what have you done throughout your life. That question will lead you to why you were born. And that question will lead you, what is the purpose of life? That question will lead you, what is life? That will lead you, who am I? And it will carry on and on and on. And if you are a truly seeker, in that case, eventually you will get answers to your questions. And that will help you to face the reality which is death. So is there any other way? So the first is to enter into the delta wave when you are dying. And if you do not want to get into your memory part of the brain, which is filled with, different kind of emotions, then there is an alternate way out for the practitioners, which is delta wave. Now, if you're not a practitioner, in that case, the easiest way out is to accept or to surrender. That is the easiest way out. Is there any other way out? Yes. Keep writing and filling up your memory with a name. I'm not a religious person, but a sound which in Vedas are termed as nad, sound. Om. Om is a sound. Jesus is a sound and a name. Ram is a sound and a name. Krishna is a sound and a name. So keep writing a name or a sound in your memory. And if I receive questions from you, I'd be surely happy to explain you why this is important and how this works. I'll give you a small example. When you pray, what do you do? What do you feel? When you pray, what do you feel? Do you feel good or do you feel bad? You feel good, right? So if you fill up your book, the memory, with prayers, and when those memories are relived, will you feel good or will you feel bad? Automatically you will feel good. Of course, there would be a lot of other emotions attached, but ultimately you will feel good, because that is again a kind of surrendering which you are doing. So that is again a way out. So these are the way outs I told you. But if you cannot follow or find out any of the way outs, in that case, what happens then? Then, as long as the memory part inside your brain does not completely decay, you keep experiencing. What do you experience? Again, same old story. With whatever you have written inside your memory, inside the brain, that is what you keep experiencing for eternity. Now you might be asking that, how is this possible? You just told me that the brain continues to function when the heart stops beating for maximum 20 minutes. So why or how are you relating these experiences with eternity? The answer is simple. Our 1 minute can be 100,000 years of experience for a dying brain, because it is beyond time and space. I have already explained you that. When you dream while you are sleeping, the way you go beyond time, the same thing happens for the dying brain. It goes beyond time. So, do I believe in hell? Yes, of course. Do I believe in heaven? Yes. And I'm not saying I believe. I know that hell is there. I'll give you an example. I found a squirrel this small, couldn't even see. I just found it in my garden many years back. I was a kid at that point of time. So I saw that okay, it will die, and though the squirrel was alive, the ants were actually trying to eat it alive. So I rescued it. I was very happy that okay, yes, I have done something in my life and I'll go to heaven, or that kind of feeling. I've done something good. I brought the squirrel home. I used to sleep alone, so I started feeding the squirrel, and I kept it beside my bed. I made a separate place for that squirrel, baby squirrel, because it couldn't see. So I made a box, small box, and put the squirrel inside it and kept it beside my bed. And I kept on feeding after every 2 hours. The third or the fourth day, the squirrel started to look, to see. One of its eye was open. I don't know how you speak about it in English, so forgive me. But at least one of the eye was open, which means like earlier the squirrel was so small that both its eyes were closed. It couldn't see. After 3-4 days of nourishment, one of its eye was open. So now it could see, but not sure that how well, but it could see. Good, I was very happy. Now, on the 6th or the 7th day, I woke up, I saw the squirrel dead because, you know why? I never realized because I was a young child at that point. The squirrel actually came to me for warmth. And while I was asleep, I actually moved on top of it, like smashed it basically. And I never even realized it. Now this memory is a kind of hell to me. It's so painful. I don't know whether you call it as a sin or not. But yes, of course, this is a guilt and I'm ready to face the punishment. But again, this is such a pain that when I will be dying, if my dying brain recalls this memory and keeps on repeating it or puts this experience into a loop, then automatically I will be living in hell. That is for sure. It is so painful for me. Now this incident has got nothing to do with good karma, bad karma, morality or sin or ignorance or any of that sort. I was a young child, very, very young, honestly, in school. But that incident is hellish for me. So, if my dying brain starts reliving that moment, then of course I would be living in hell. And good memories are also there. So, if I start living in those memories, then I will be in heaven. So, hell is there because I'll be experiencing it if I fall into that trap. And heaven is also there if I start reliving those good karmas or good moments. And this reliving is equal to rebirth, which the sages has told us. To me, that is the definition. There is no other interpretation apart from this. To me, rebirth is this. The dying brain, when it starts revisiting its memory center, and when it goes beyond time, that is reliving or rebirth. And there can be multiple deaths, because every moment, if you really understand, every moment we are dying. Though we say that we are living, I am alive. But when you start meditating and go to that deep realizations, you will know that I am dying every moment. And I am taking birth again at the same time, simultaneously. Every moment. So living and dying is happening every moment. I don't know whether you are able to understand my words or not. But I am living and dying now. The same moment. Right now, a part of me is dying, and a part of me is living. Okay. Maybe I'll find out more words for you next time to explain this experience. So, we were talking about rebirth. So this is rebirth for the dying brain. As I already told you, I do not believe in taking a rebirth in a different, physical body, being an ant or an elephant or as a human being or as a saint. I do not believe in ghosts. I do not believe in external authority such as God. To me, the definition of God, as I told you, my superconscious is my God. My superconscious is my Guru, my guide, my teacher. But yes, there is importance of idol worshipping. There is importance of God as explained by all religious books, because those are basically the ABCD in the path of spirituality. If you do not start from the basics, you cannot jump into a college life without going into a school. You'll have to start from the basics. That is why they are important. But again, if I tell you, logically you may understand, but you will never be able to realize what I am telling you. So that is why I would request you that do not deny anything, do not accept anything unless you realize something. Just follow a path. Do not criticize any path. Just start following. Jump into the path. Start walking. If you are determined to find the truth, to find the answers of your questions, in that case, you will get them. Today or tomorrow, you will find them. But the zeal has to be there. So, rebirth Yes, there is rebirth. I know there is rebirth. And that birth can be of 100,000 years. So hell is there, heaven is there, rebirth is there, or you talk about reincarnation. Yes, to me that is same. One birth, multiple birth. Yes, that is possible. That is possible for a dying brain. When my father died, some part of me died. When the squirrel died, some part of me died along with that squirrel. Every one of us, we die so many times, we do not realize. Because we define death with our body only. We do not define or relate death psychologically. Nothing actually we have learned to relate with our psychology. We want something tangible. We want to relate everything with something physical, materialistic. That is why today God has taken a shape. That is why, angels have taken a shape. That is why rebirth means, taking birth with another, physical body. Everything has become, something tangible, something which you can touch, which you can feel, which you can see. But we have ignored this part that the sages in Vedas, they may have spoken about, these, rebirth with a new physical body. I don't know, but to me, everything makes sense when I relate their words with a dying brain. That yes, they are correct. Hell, heaven, rebirth, reincarnation, moksha, liberation, everything is true. Everything. So this is what happens during death. So for a dying brain, it can experience anything depending upon your karma. And that is why you should always be aware that what you are thinking is pure or impure. Because ultimately you are the person who is writing your own book. In your brain, in the memory part, memory center. And understand, this memory center is the part of the body which decays last. It survives for the longest period. So, I hope now you realize that why death is so important for all of us. It is something which should be understood, realized. Only then people will not require any kind of teachings regarding sin or morality, if they truly understand that what is going to happen to them when they are dying. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm just trying to make you understand. For those who are on the path of spirituality, I'm trying to make them understand that this is how it ends or begins. So no matter what you do, has to be related with the dying brain. What it will pick up from your memory. You do not know. So the memories. You do not watch horror movies. Forget about sin. I'm not saying forget about sin means do sin. No. Commit a sin is not something which I'm insisting or encouraging. But of course, you should avoid sinning or immorality. You should avoid these things. But anything apart from them, because those are the basics. Immorality and sin are the basics. There are so many other things beyond that. As I shared with you about my, experience regarding the squirrel. Okay? Or maybe something which you have seen. Like you saw a dog hit by a car. It died in front of you. It was very painful for you. It is written inside your memory. And for the dying brain, if it starts reliving that moment for eternity, then it will be hellish for you. So I told you the route, how to escape, how to avoid it. Best is to surrender or to accept. Face death. Face hell. Face whatever may come. Only then things can be still under control. And that demands no fear. As long as you possess fear, as long as you are scared of something, scared of hell, scared of heat, scared of burning, scared of suffering, scared of pain, as long as you resist, the pain increases, keeps on increasing. And the moment you surrender, the moment you are ready to accept it, it's gone. The pain is gone, the suffering is gone. I'm just trying to explain you, in the simplest way. Because otherwise it will take a long time. Maybe we will discuss some other time about it. So I hope I have explained you what is death and what exactly happens. Try to do your own research that whether the brain dies when the heart stops beating or not. Try to do research on the different kind of brain waves. A fetus inside the womb, it remains undisturbed. It does not suffer. Neither it is joyful, neither it is happy. Because a fetus inside the womb is dominated by delta wave in the brain. So the I was absent. And that is why it was able to remain in that status, in that situation for so long. So apart from delta wave, there is theta wave, alpha wave, beta wave, gamma wave. Okay, there is a new kind of brain wave which has been invented recently, which the normal EEG machines cannot measure. So try to learn about those things. Why? Because these will help you eventually when you start experiencing things like this. Then those will start making sense that okay, this is not a hallucination. This is not just something which occurred. This is not, something which can be taken very casually. Or this is what actually happened to me. So then you'd be able to make sense out of whatever happens. Because nowadays there are so many people who will tell you so many things. Some will say that, okay, your Kundalini has awakened, you have become spiritual, you have seen God or something like that. Okay, how have you seen God? How many people I just heard stories that during what do you call uh, during near-death experience, many people find themselves out of their body. They are floating above their body. My question is, how do you know that that is your body? That is stored somewhere inside your memory. You have seen yourself in the mirror for a long time, for many, many years. That is why you know that this is how you look like. This is how your body looks like. And that is why in near-death experience, you could see yourself floating above your body. Now, above your body means memory. So, you went into your, memory portion, extracted that how you look like, and then something happened. So, you were in the theta wave, which was actually duality. So, many come out and say that, okay, I experienced a father-like figure. Okay, and the same thing out of imagination, because that father-like figure was actually stored in your memory. That is why during near-death experience you saw someone from your memory, relived your imagination or your previous experiences from your lifetime. So, please write me questions. If you do not have questions, in that case, that would be absurd. And if you truly have some genuine questions, please write them in the comment section. I'm not saying that I'm 100% correct, but this is what I know. I'm also not trying to defame anyone or hurt any belief system or deny any religious script or hurt your God or your authority. I'm just sharing my experience. If you have questions, please write them down. If you like my videos, please give it a like. In that case, you may share with like-minded people, because if you do so, in that case, Google or YouTube would pay me, and that will help me to maintain a balance, fulfill my responsibilities towards my family and create more videos for you. So please do give it a like if you found it interesting. And that's it for now. Thank you for giving me so much of your time. Thank you.